Well, that was going to happen, wasn't it? The gardener just texted me and cut off the video mid-flow, rapiding on. So that's that formal one. Unfortunately, I'd already done this one over a video, but it didn't tape it. This is E. It's a very similar option, but instead, you know, you've got your soiree area. I'm suggesting, you know, acers and magnolias, or you can have a conifer. You can even pull in a tool shed here if you want. And the other thing I mentioned here was you can put in just a simple bench here and sit out and have a small brunch area. I don't like sort of eating off low level coffee tables, but that'd be up to you. So you could stick to your 2 meters here. And this could even be given over to veg, depending on whether you want to look at it, because that would be a raised bed. And you could dispense with this whole zone here, this wiggly zone here. So lots of things to play around with option E, with your wavy soiree. The only difference being is you're putting in some bigger, not those are for your neighbours, a couple of screeny plants, and you've got a raised bed here with some steps going up. There'd be about, I don't know, no, there wouldn't be 4 steps up. I think there was 4 steps up when I thought you were 1 in 4 foot. But with a 4% incline, there's probably only going to be 1. But you get the picture of the design. So those are those two. The exciting bit that I came back on that would push you even further, and they can suit both of these designs, is I was thinking of the summer area here and you writing and all the rest of it, and I thought, what about a summer house? Whatever you do, leave some space between you and the neighbour here, because you can hide behind there your tools, or you could have, I don't know, a little tool thing here. We work out the detail of it. Now, a summer house will cost you probably $2,000. You can get them cheaper. You could build it. I wish I could lend you my builder. The more you do yourself, the more not. We can talk about that if you want to do that. But the idea is that you could even have a writing shed here. It doesn't have to be a big summer house. It could be a smaller writing shed, you know, half the size. This zone, remember though, you're going to probably have to extend it out, because at 2 by 3 meters ain't that great. That's more of a hut. 3 by, you know, 3.5, taking up more of this, you're really starting to talk summer house. And you probably have to get rid of something like that and get rid of something that's going to overshade it. But you'd work the planting around it. And the other option, of course, if you had a summer house here, is to rethink this area. For example, you might not have those. You might have this as the area you spill out onto, with a cup of tea and an extending table, or have a long table along here, or a long table around here. But remember, this is slightly shady, but sometimes it's quite nice to sit in a bit of shade. But you could play with this area, see what you think. Similarly, you could put one in here, have it a little bit more tilted so it's even more south facing, and your party people can spill out onto the lawn. Again, behind here, this would be your new fence. You could, under the eaves, and I need to talk to you about that actually, planning permission and eaves. If you think about a summer house, I mean, I'm going to do a really simple one here, or a she shed. Don't tell Duncan I said that. These are under the eaves here. You could, in the winter, if you've got a fence there, as you've got here, you could put all your tools. Give you a spade, give you a little fork. You can hide your tools behind there, and possibly even a lawnmower with a bit of luck, and you wouldn't have to think about a separate tool shed. Or if you've got a custom made one, you could get them to slightly extend one eave so it gave you that shelter, but you can't get round there. So I know that under my she shed I've got massive eaves, bit too low though, my she shed, you know, stand behind. That would be far too wrong for your garden. But I've got quite extending eaves, and I put all sorts under it. Of course, it's out of sight because I've grown some bushes here as well. Remember, this is looking this way down. That's the eave, extension of the eave that we're talking about there. As you look out this way, this is the front of the house. Okay, hope that gives. Gosh, I'm not bad at drawing, am I? So she, ha ha ha. There's a query around planning permission. There are restrictions on what you can do without asking your neighbours, but your neighbour, on this side at least, has already got a shed there, which is a big plus for you. But go around and have a cup of tea and have a chat with them if they mind you. We never had to have planning permission. The other thing is there's some restrictions on. I know this from personal experience and having had a problem. As you know, our she shed is enormously tall. And so our neighbour reported us for building it. And very, very luckily, I think the guy who built it must have known that he'd known this, because this area here up to the eaves was less than 2 metres. It didn't matter. There's our she shed, do you remember it? And so we got away with it, and we could have rung and put it on our planning permission when we went for it recently, but you don't want to get into those wrangles. So check up with your council what you can buy. There are also you have to live certain distances between you and the neighbours' fences. So if you're doing here, watch out. You don't want to build one and have to take it down. So with this one, be careful, because you've got a different neighbour here as well as one here. And there'll be certain widths that you have to leave it. So again, if you're interested in that, talk about it, and we can talk about planning permission and everything else with it. So I will call these, this is E, the purple, but it's E2 with the she shed, and this is D2, R2D2 with the not the she shed, the summer house. It's a summer house. But remember, you can put things in the summer house as well. You can pack away all your furniture you leave out there, chuck in there. But I would suggest find a summer house where that may be packable here, if you were going to do it, and you can still have it as a writing area here. Get some kind of portable heater and go out in the winter. But as you say, this is really the summer zone, really a zone for summer. So those are just some thoughts to get your design juices flowing. Let me know what you think, what you'd like to shortlist. That's a very long list. Thank you for your patience. But there's some themes there that I think could work. It depends on how much work you want to put in, what kind of investment in time, energy and money. And remember, as I said right at the very beginning, that finance and resources that you put in, if you can put more time in, then that will lead to less money that you have to put in and skills, or you're going to have to drop the quality. Or remember, with time, it's not just your time you're going to put in, that will reduce that and skill. You might have a 1 to 5 year option, and that's why I was asking you how long do you plan to stay in the house for. Remember, and always bear in mind, you mustn't screw it up for anyone else. But quite honestly, any of these options, Emily was talking about having a one of those things you jump up and down on, or trampoline. You know, someone coming in your house could take that down and put a trampoline up, or put a trampoline over here. I don't think it's excluding too much. And happy designing. Oh, one final addendum, a couple of things just to mention which I forgot, because this was one that I threw in at the last minute and didn't get videoed. And that is to say, the reason I'm proposing this area here is you mentioned that this was more flat up this end. It's worth thinking about how flat it is, because you can always take gravel from one end and chuck it up the other, which will create a deeper bed here or somewhere down, but it'll be hard work. Don't underestimate it, but it's a possibility if you want to save finance. If you do put your summer house here, it is worth thinking about how you want these different areas to play out. If you're going to be radical, you could even extend. You can see all sorts of other designs I came up with here, but I'm not suggesting you go that way. There's 1,000,001 ways you can go. Is you could go for a 3 metre, sorry, I'm working freehand in the office, the other office. A 3 metre extended. You can even dig up the existing platform here, make this bigger so you can really sit out and make it a brunchy area. That still leaves you 6 metres to play with. And again, you need to ground truth these. Oh no, I think I've got my sums wrong there, haven't I? because it's 8 metres, that's 10. My maths is always rubble. It would leave you 4 metres. Rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. I'm thinking of rubble and rubbish at the same time. So that would just leave you 4 metres in the middle if you went for a 3 metre this way. So think about playing around those areas. But the great news about building something up here is you've already got that rubble underlay from the builders, and whatever you do in your decision is the more you can work with what the builders have appallingly done at times and do all over the place, all the better for you, all the more affordable it becomes, and all the more easy to do. That was just the addendum, and I think that's everything I've got in mind, except